Well, hello and welcome to Inside Jacksonville, a production of the University of North Florida's Department of Communication and CW17. I'm Brooks Baptiste.
And I'm Tiziana Onstead. We're here each month with stories about life on our favorite coast, the First Coast.
Today we're focusing on tasty treats and some of the uniquely Jacksonville options awaiting the chance to tantalize your taste buds. When choosing a place to eat, we know food isn't the only attraction. So is the overall dining experience, and fast food is just no exception. I visited a couple of local eateries, making the quick bite a more memorable experience. Many businesses in the Jacks Beach area come and go, but these two are here to stay. Mauricio Valduritan, owner of Shack Maui, says his whole restaurant idea began when he and his soccer teammates would get hungry at night.
McDonald's, Taco Bell, or Waffle House.
But they didn't have a lot of options, so he came up with the idea of creating a late-night restaurant, and that was the birth of
Shack Maui.
Shack Maui hasn't even been around for a year, but it's already gained quite the cult following.
Since January, I've probably been here 40 or 50 times.
We've already had like 300 of our friends come out.
Now, the secret to their success?
It's very chill, it's got a good vibe, and good food.
The people that serve here, they're awesome people, and the food is by far the best burger in Jacksonville.
But that wasn't the only thing attracting the late-night crowd.
They tell you about a new restaurant, it usually takes you a couple months to go try it out. But if there's nothing else open and you're up every single night, it's only a matter of time.
And this.
We had a pineapple sauce, and no one would expect that, pineapple sauce on a burger, on a quesadilla, on a hot dog, would change the taste of it so drastically, but it does in the best of ways.
You got to give the pineapple sauce a chance with the chips. It's the best. I mean, that mingled with the flavor of the cheese is like literal munchies. Literal munchy food.
Shack Maui, a place known for their munchy food and their huge following, but right down the street, a place with a similar story.
The first time I walked into that door, it was the same as it was now.
Ed Millen, owner of Angie's Subs, says there's two aspects to building his following.
It's food and service. Food and service, called the food service industry.
He wanted to find a way to make his customers feel good.
Names to every ticket. So when you came in, on your ticket it said,
Linda!
I brought my service aspect, front of the house, ideas to that little restaurant, and it grew exponentially over the years. We averaged about 40 sandwiches a day back then. On a busy day, we did about 70.
But now
we do 400 to 500 sandwiches a day, and on a busy day, we can do 1,200 sandwiches a day.
I get the Jack Del Rio every time.
You can buy the same salami, the same ham, the same Peruvian sauce, the same mayonnaise, the same cheese. It's going to be the exact same sandwich that we serve here. But what we do is take that sandwich and add some service to it. And that service are the secret ingredient in Angie's.
to find out more about these restaurants and their followings, visit www.shackmaui.com and facebook.com/Angie'sSubs.
For some folks on the First Coast, having enough to eat is a serious struggle. But as Inside Jacksonville's Raleigh Harbin explains, solving complex problems is often as simple as a single person deciding to make a difference.
Just a few years ago, Tracy Jabot, founder of Jack's Beach Brothers Keeper, was a man out of options. At one point, he resorted to living out of his truck, unable to find work in a struggling economy.
And at that point, you know, you figure out very quickly that you should have been a little more appreciative. That laid the groundwork for once I was able to get my life back together to help others.
Jabot reflected on those days of struggling and hardships that he had to endure. His desire to help those in similar situations is what led him to start Jack's Beach Brothers Keeper, a local organization that helps feed and provide for the homeless.
During the winter, we support all the churches that do the cold night shelters. We make sure that they all have warm clothes, underwear.
Jabot said that spending time with people in need is an important part of his charity. With help from Jack's Beach area McDonald's, he is able to provide those people with a meal each time he sees them.
I call over to McDonald's in Atlantic Beach. They already know. I ask them to either 25 or 30 sausage biscuits. People have already donated the water. I pull up there. There's usually 3 or 4 homeless people at the McDonald's waiting on me. We spend a little time just talking while they're making the food. Then they give me the food, I hand it out there, a bunch of hugs. Then I get in my vehicle and then I start traveling south. When I come up to a homeless person, I don't ask if they're homeless. I simply ask if you had breakfast yet. Sometimes it takes them a second to process it. And then if they say no, I said, well, you have now.
From there, Jabot hands out food until he runs out. He restocks on more food and water and then continues his route. To some, it may sound like a lot of work, but he takes pride in making a difference and wants others to join him.
I want a brother's keeper in every part of Jacksonville. You come out with me for 1 or 2 times and I show you how I do it. I show you with $50 and just a little bit of your time and a little bit of compassion, a little bit of love, you can change people's life.
Raleigh Harbin, inside Jacksonville.
To find out more or get involved, like Jack's Beach Brothers Keeper on Facebook. Later, we'll show you what it takes to brew your own beer in the comfort of your own home.
But up next, how about those guilty pleasures? You know, the ones that make your mouth water just thinking about them. We'll tempt you with a few right after the break. Welcome back to Inside Jacksonville.
This month, we're focusing on some unique food and beverage options available to us here on the First Coast. Everyone has a favorite guilty pleasure, or maybe two, when it comes to treats. Inside Jacksonville's Catherine Marsh shows us a couple of places you might want to add to your list.
If you find yourself walking along Jacksonville Beach and are looking for a bite to eat, the aroma of fresh baked pizza won't let you go much further. This authentic Italian pie is one of the most popular guilty pleasures around.
It's more of a Napolitana pizza, more of the Italian style than a New York or Chicago style. Very thin crust, very good flour, very fresh yeast, San Marzano tomatoes. Very good, very delicious.
And while these ingredients make mouths water, there's far more to pizza that makes it a popular comfort food.
Pizza is something that you can take home and just like sit in your pajamas and eat and watch television. You come here, you can watch the game on television, you know, have a beer with your friends, and it's very comforting.
Comfort and convenience are a few important factors when it comes to one of America's most beloved dishes.
After indulging in one guilty pleasure, we decided to head to Ponte Vedra Beach to get the real scoop on some homemade ice cream.
Among the many popular dessert choices, true homemade ice cream can be hard to come by in Jacksonville. One local shop provides a fun twist on many timely flavors.
So try that coconut, my man. The flavors are all, you know, non-traditional for the most part. You know, I didn't want to do just the same old thing for everything, so we have, you know, just different creations.
And coming up with these creations needs a little bit of inspiration.
I'll walk down the Publix aisle, cookie aisle, and all that kind of stuff, and just think about what would be good, this cookie with this peanut butter chip or whatever, and all that kind of stuff, and just try to do non-traditional stuff.
Not to mention, it's all natural, even down to one of his most popular flavors, coconut.
And I don't do flavorings or anything like that, so it's real stuff, like cream of coconut, coconut flakes, coconut milk, the whole deal.
While ice cream has been around for generations, its popularity hasn't faded either.
This summer we were insanely busy, which was great. So summertime was great. People were lining up at the door at 1 o'clock, waiting for us to open, and then we went till 10 every night. So summertime was phenomenal.
From the sweet, natural flavors to the festive and fun environment that surrounds you, Christie's Ice Cream Dream puts your taste buds on cloud 9. Catherine Marsh, Inside Jacksonville.
For more information, you can visit our web story at unftv.com.
Well, Mayport Fishing Village has been supplying fresh seafood to North Florida for years. Inside Jacksonville's Reginald Durant takes us down to the docks for a look at how our Atlantic favorites make it to shore.
Safe Harbor seafood has been ascending to surface in recent memory, in large part due to Mayport's successful shrimping industry. Chris Wooten, owner of Safe Harbor Seafood, says confidently that there is no competition in Mayport's fishing market. Shrimp is the dominant force in Mayport by a landslide.
When you travel the world, like I go to a lot of the seafood shows, Boston, San Francisco, and this is Mayport shrimp. We're world renowned for the best shrimp in the world.
Commercial fishermen in the Mayport community know all about the success of Safe Harbor Seafood and its international shrimping industry.
Yeah, we sell everything we catch right here local to Safe Harbor. Safe Harbor puts it on airplanes and sell it to Winn-Dixie, Publix, and different other places.
We go out a week at a time. We generally make it happen 5 days out of the week. We try and get, 300-400 pounds a day. We fish for everything that's legal at the point in time.
Safe Harbor Seafood, one of Mayport's best restaurants, has been providing a lot more to the Mayport community other than its fresh supply of fish. Chris Wooten, owner of Safe Harbor, has watched a culture slowly grow around the Mayport fishing market, and in recent years, Safe Harbor's consistency has proved to pay off.
Due to the calculated success of Mayport's shrimping market, Safe Harbor Seafood is currently in the process of renovating and expanding its distribution warehouse. There's an estimate amount of $3 million being spent on the renovations to the distribution warehouse.
As you can see, we're building the largest retail in the state of Florida across the street. Yeah, so a lot of exciting plans.
Everyone is invited to get a taste of Mayport.
We track pretty much everybody, all race, culture, everybody from around the world. We got people come from everywhere from Safe Harbor.
The local fishing market here in Jacksonville is in great hands and flourishing thanks to Mayport shrimp. Although charter fishing may not be as lucrative as the shrimping industry, their family-oriented atmosphere is more than enough to keep them satisfied.
It's more a community too, though. If nobody else can get anything and we're on them, call them up and say, hey, come over here. They're here.
Reginald Durant with Inside Jacksonville.
To learn more about Jacksonville's rules and regulations on commercial fishing, please visit Florida Wildlife and Conservation Commission's website, myfwc.com.
Now, burgers and barbecue are indeed delicious, and they dominate the First Coast eating options. But as Inside Jacksonville's Andre Roman shows us, there's an entire culinary world right here for you to taste and discover.
International restaurants just around every corner, Casbah Cafe has been serving the community since 1999. The Mediterranean spices and foods are prepped in-house. Known for their vibrant nightlife experience and famous appetizers, the owner, Nicola Bearcott, explains that their food is authentic.
We always prep our food according to our culture, whatever it tastes like in the Middle East. So we try to get or actually we get in almost the same taste.
The bistro offers limitless hookah flavors as well as belly dancing on the weekends. Belly dancer Rain Dunbar has been performing for crowds weekly for the past 10 years.
It's been fun. It's the first place I ever started belly dancing at. It started almost on a whim, and I learned I was dancing on a Friday that Wednesday.
Voted one of the top 10 places to be seen in Jax, Casbah Cafe offers a Middle Eastern experience in the heart of Jacksonville. Blue Bamboo is located on the south side of Jacksonville. It is a well-known eatery that combines Southern and Asian culture, a cuisine that executive chef and owner of Blue Bamboo, Dennis Chan, calls hip Asian comfort food.
We've been able to incorporate a lot of the recipes from my family restaurants over the decades here in town into the food that we offer here.
His dynamic specialties start with a unique cooking technique in which he adds his own Asian flair.
In my classic French training, they teach you to use a mirepoix to build every sauce, and that is an onion, a carrot, and a celery product, and that's the foundation to build every sauce. Well, in Asian cooking, the foundation is ginger, garlic, and scallion, so I call that the Asian mirepoix.
With a multiple award-winning restaurant, Chan uses the finest ingredients. This hip Asian comfort food will leave you wanting more. Now I had Dennis go ahead and bag up the stir fry for me, so let's try. Just the perfect blend of spice and sour. According to the National Restaurant Association, 80% of people eat at least one ethnic cuisine per month. I guess you could say that's my month.
Andre Roman, Inside Jacksonville.
Now for more information and a closer look at these menus, you can visit the restaurant's websites at thecasabahcafe.com and bluebamboojacksonville.com. After the break, the Food Fest continues. Welcome back. We couldn't do an entire show on food and not include drinks. Anheuser-Busch dominates the Jacksonville brew scene, but it's far from the only game in town.
Craft brewers are making their mark all over the city, and Inside Jacksonville's Mark Judson shows us that when it comes to microbrews, creativity is key, and just all about the flavor are welcome.
IPAs, pale ales, stouts, craft beers are taking over the taps. This trend is growing from pints to growlers, but so is the craft behind these crafts.
We're sitting around drinking and doing what I call R&D, research and drinking, and so we were talking about it, and the next day it's like, do we actually agree to open a brewery, you know?
That's exactly what happened to Mark Stillman and Eric Lumen, who own Green Room Brewing. They knew what they would sell.
So the Head High IPA was really our flagship. So we knew we were coming out with the flagship IPA, which in craft beer, you really need a solid IPA.
A very bitter beer, but also a local favorite. Once they had the basics brewed, they started experimenting.
You know, we'll have our brewers back here and we'll talk about it, but it's just hey, why don't we try this? And that's where some of our beers came from, like our Count Chocula. And it's like, why don't we try, putting some chocolate in in our stout.
These recipes weren't just whipped up in a kitchen.
So our brewing process starts out with malt. Okay.
It's a long process with some pretty big appliances, so let me break it down for you.
This is the first step of our brewing process, and what we do is we take malts and they get added into this hot water tank, and it creates essentially a giant tea bag that we can use for step 2 here, where we're going to drop that in there, and we're going to add some more hot water. We're also going to add hops to it. That's going to create the nice bitter flavor that you get in a lot of your IPAs and your pale ales. Then we're going to move it into one of our flavoring tanks. From here, we can create something that's unique, such as a chocolate flavor, a tangerine flavor, or anything that you really set your mind to.
And lastly,
we're going to put it over here, and we're going to bubble CO2 up through it.
Then it's ready for a keg.
You can go to a brewery and they have great beer. Or you can take water, your blank canvas, and you can kind of create something yourself.
That's why Gary Solomon is a home brewer and works at this home brewing shop, Just Brew It. He's been making beer for 8 years. He doesn't have the big tanks like Green Room.
We have a single tier 3-burner system, all stainless tanks.
Don't worry, they sell starter kits as well as all the ingredients, from grains to malts to hops, even if you have never brewed before.
We have a lot of people that come in and they brew once and they're just hooked. Like once it gets in your blood, you kind of can't get it out.
Solomon says homebrewers do it for fun, to enter contests like the Florida First Cup, or for profit. But in the end, it's all about the beer.
You do have a lot of people that are getting into it to try to make it a business. But the best beer are usually made for the people, by the people that are passionate about it.
Solomon says you can find equipment to fit any budget, but the final product could take, a couple of several weeks or even a month to make, so patience is a pretty important ingredient.
Now, if you've been paying attention, you notice good food is on the move. And as Inside Jacksonville's Alex Lassen explains, food truck success all comes down to finding the right dish.
Social media has become a big part of our lives. As the days go by, we find more and more ways to integrate into our daily routine. It was only a matter of time before it affected the food that we eat.
Notably, food trucks have truly integrated social media in their quest to let people know where they are and where the food is.
So I would say social media is the avenue that grew the trucks in Jacksonville.
Chris Brown, the woman who is currently behind Jack's Truckies, runs a social media organization that puts where to find Jacksonville food trucks in one place for consumers. Something food truck owners know is important.
We use social media a lot. We can pop up like today. Nobody knew we were here. We posted it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
If we didn't post on social media, we would have much harder time to find us because we're going to reach only to the clients that can see us and not the clients that following us.
While different food trucks have their own accounts with a number of followers, like Son of a Butcher's 2,600 likes and Wrap It Up's 1,400, Jacksonville organizations like Jack's Truckies have more followers and can reach a wider audience. Jack's Truckies have over 34,000 likes on Facebook, making it an even better way for food trucks to reach customers.
It's working both ways. You kind of do your own thing and you interact with other trucks. So we have like a closed groups of a truck. Most of the trucks in Jacksonville belong to that. So we are consulting one another where to go, where not to go, how much to prep. So yes, we are communicating fairly well to a big community then.
While there's a certain level of competition between trucks, food truck owners as well use social media to communicate and create a sense of community.
It's like our own little food truck community. We have a lot of fun with who we work with.
Alex Lassen, Inside Jacksonville.
To stay up to date on most of the food trucks in the area, just search for Jack's Truckies on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Also, consider following your favorite trucks on social media to find out where they'll be on any given day. Now that's a wrap for this edition of Inside Jacksonville.
If you missed anything from today's program, just visit our website, that is unftv.com, and click on Inside Jacksonville. There you'll find expanded versions of our stories, photos, interviews, and other extras. Again, that's unftv.com, Inside Jacksonville.
Thanks for joining us. We don't know the next topic, but you'll find out next month.
And I promise you it will be good, so we'll see you next time, Inside Jacksonville.
You tell us to chit chat.